Hello, my name is Dionisio Don Traverso Jr. Just call me Don. Uh, so I am the author of Dysphoria. I am also the author of Dysphoria Apocrypha. I'm also the author of lots of short stories, which have been published on the internet. Hey, I've been published in many magazines. I was published in Rod Serling's Night Gallery magazine back in the day. I was been published in Midnight Zoo, Aberrations, Yellow Mama, uh, Silver Blade. Uh, I am mainly a short story writer. Um, I have worked on longer pieces, mostly um, unpublished. Let's be honest. Um, I'm making this video just to somewhat explain what's the deal with a graphic novel script with no graphic novel. What's a graphic novel without graphics? Well, it's pretty much a novel, isn't it? Kinda, in script form. And yeah, that's what it is. I mean, quick story. Um, Over a decade ago, maybe close to two, uh, I had I was part of a group trying to start a small comic company. It was during a time when small comic companies were blowing up. It was, you know, just after Image Comics had blown up also. In a way, it was a good thing we didn't succeed because it was on the cusp of the comic book bubble bursting. So we would have been uh, releasing our comics around the time that the bubble burst, which would have been bad for us. Um, though we had some really, really good comics, we had some great ideas, but unfortunately, we had a bad apple in our team who wasn't one of the creative. He was unfortunately one of the money men, and he took off with the money. It's what happened. And I was not quite the guy. I was not quite yet the schooled yet on the ways of business. So I had a sense that something was wrong, but I didn't quite know what was wrong yet. But I had a sense that something was wrong, and that was that. But this story, this dysphoria, was an idea of mine that, under a different name and really under a different plot, the first part of dysphoria is pretty much the same, but the first third of it was pretty much the same. But two, the last two thirds is way different, very different, and more comic bookish, very much so, and was supposed to have lots of crossovers with the other creators' work and the other creators' characters, and obviously that never happened. The only thing there is an homage I put to that other comic company, and that is Enigma Graphic, which is, you notice, the symbol that I use for this for the blog. That is not the logo I created. We didn't use that logo back then. We had a completely different logo, and the um, coincidentally, the guy who ended up ripping all of us off, and whoever invested money in it, also influenced the name Enigma Graphic. He uh, he was the one who didn't want it to be Enigma Graphics. He wanted the singular because it was unique. And I kind of like, actually, even then, I kind of liked it, and I still kind of like it now. So I'm using it, but it's mine. Technically, it's still mine to use, so I'm going to use it. So here it is. It's actually somewhere. It's actually going to be used later on in uh, in the story. It's actually used somewhere in the story. So in case you're wondering why am I using Enigma Graphic for a graphic novel script without graphics? Just so you know, though, I am drawing issue 1 right now. I'm up to page 10. I am not a trained artist. It's going to be a while. I'm hoping to at least come out with 2 issues. You have seen examples of my art. It's okay. That's me saying it's okay. You can say it sucks. That's fine. Because, yeah, it kind of sucks. It does. I drew the cover for issue 1 and put it out there. You all saw it. If you saw my promotional material for it, and when I drew it, I was pretty proud of it. I thought it looked good, and now I look at it now. Now I look at it, and it's like I already started redrawing it. I'm not overly proud of it. Even when I drew the ad for Apocrypha, I was pretty proud of it. I look at it now and I'm like, I could fix that. I'm always going to do that. I do that with my writing as well. So, um, Dysphoria, what is this writing? What is this novel without a graphic all about? What is going on here? What am I doing? Dysphoria is a finished script. Just to let you know, it's 13 issues, completely done. It's all written. For me, who is writing in a completely not entirely new style, because I'm used to writing conventionally, but I've always liked, once in a while, like to push words and style. I like to push it. For me, it's not just words when I write. It's also the medium and the page. It's always been that. When I back when I was starting the comic company, I read uh, Scott McCloud's Understanding Comics, and it really opened my mind to comics as a different language. Will Eisner's comic and sequential art especially opened my mind to comics as a different language. And and the thing is, I've been reading comics since I was a little kid. You know, Batman was my gateway drug, and then eventually Adam Warlock and Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange is really big. But Adam Warlock when I was a teenager, and then I got into like Raw magazine was like really blew my mind because that showed me that you can draw pretty pictures and put word balloons and tell a story, or you can draw pictures on the page and use it all to tell the story without words. And that really got me into it. Like, you know, uh, seeing Chris Ware's stuff and reading Mouse was amazing. Uh, there's I, I always drifted toward that, but then I also drifted toward writers who did stuff where with words that were graphic, like Alfred Bester in the Illustrator or the Demolished Man, where he had telepaths in a party talking to each other, multiple telepaths, and he showed that on a page, multiple conversations that were interlinked and interlaced that you can read. That was amazing to read. Or the way he showed synesthesia through typography and words in The Star's My Destination. That's amazing stuff. Or Harlan Ellison in one of his stories that was a challenge to him. He had a writer wrote a story prompt where the main character dies at the beginning and gave it to five writers and said, this is your prompt. Write a story. And Harlan Ellison was one of those five writers. And he wrote this mind blowing, crazy story. And one of them, I believe that his character's falling into this pit or into the like singularity or pit, and he had the words going in a literal spiral. It's like he's describing this guy falling into a spiral, but he's writing it in a spiral, and you had to turn the page. You had to turn the book to read it because it's in a spiral. Because he's showing you with words what the character's experiencing while while describing it. Fascinates me. So why am I telling you this? Because script writing is not my style. I write pretty conventionally. I write short stories. Been working on novels that don't get finished, except for this one. Um, and but once in a while, one of my unfinished novels does have that kind of stuff in it. And this one, eventually, you'll see if you keep reading that there's a I've studied like, well, let me say, I studied different writers in comics. I studied their style as far as comic book scripting. And there is no style for comic book scripting. The way I do it is not the way that Neil Gaiman does it, or Alan Moore does it, or Steve Englehart does it, or or uh, uh, or Jim Starlin does it, or or Don McGregor does it. They all do it very differently. Warren Ellis doesn't put any description uh, in his scripts. He just puts lines of dialogue. He tells his artist what he wants and puts the dialogue down. That's it. No description, no nothing. He just puts lines of dialogue. He trusts his artists. That's it. Don McGregor puts lots of description, but it reads like short story almost. And then you'll get dialogue, you know? Some of it just like legitimately reads like short stories or novel. Some of it is like a very descriptive movie script. And I, at one time, went to, had film classes. So my style was kind of a hybrid of that. And eventually, in the script, my style starts to grab onto all of their styles. It starts to kind of break into all of them. It starts to uh, you'll see that there's that the wall that it's there is a point where there's an assist that you're going to see more graphics. I, I can't explain more without spoiling, but you're going to see more graphics, and you're going to see that you can read this without the graphic novel part and be fine. It's it'll read it, it'll read fine, and you will get everything you could without getting the graphic novel part. I think I describe things well enough that you will get the gist of what I'm trying to say. And and that's it. I think this is an important story in a way for, especially at the moment for reasons. I think there's a certain certain parts of the population that are not being heard. Several parts of the population that are not being heard and haven't been heard for a long, long time. And I think this story is one of this is one way of this story is that dog barking, crying out. This story is their voice. This story is my voice. Because someone had to say something. And if no one else is, it might as well be me. And if it doesn't reaches just one person, I'm fine. It'll work. Just reading it as is. And just let you know, the fact that I'm drawing it works in the story as well. You can even say it's part of the story. And you can wait until I draw it, but it's 300 pages, so you're going to be waiting a long time. You might as well just read the script. I think it's really well written. Uh, I think it's important. And it's certainly from the heart. And um, read it. And in between, read the Apocryphas, because those are brand new parts. Dysphoria is done, it's completely finished, but the Apocryphas are new. I'm writing those on the fly. And they'll give you, they're not gratuitous. They will give you like little keys to better understanding of the story. Hopefully, there won't be gratuitous. I'm trying not to make them gratuitous. Uh, Apocrypha 1 is a very important key to something that happens later. But, and there's a reason why they're called Apocrypha, but you will have to read the main story to understand why. But in any case, thanks for listening, y'all, and love y'all. I really do. Uh, thanks for uh, giving my uh, giving my story a try. Sorry about not giving trigger warnings on issue 1. I for me, issue 1 to 5 is kind of safe, and I forgot about that one scene in issue 1. I'm really sorry about that. But yeah, major trigger warnings. I'm sorry, trigger warnings after issue 5, because that's where we really get to the meat of the matter. Even though you'll get plenty of hints leading up to it, you'll start to see something's going on leading up to it. Lots of things going on. There's the setup from issues 1 to 5 that We're going to give you moments of, and I hope you enjoy that. That's their issue 5. Well, I hope y'all at least stick around and maybe y'all can discuss it with me. Anyway, y'all have a great day. Uh, be strong, stay healthy. Let's beat Dr. Doom so that he does this and goes away. Bye, y'all. Love ya.